Hello students, how are you? I hope all of you are doing fine. In my last video, we had discussed the questions of prose 4 from the diary of Anne Frank, and we had discussed all the questions of oral comprehension check. In this video, I have come up with the questions under the heading thinking about the text. So, are you ready? Yes, let's start rolling. So, we have done plenty of things from this chapter, and I hope most of the answers, most of the questions which I'm going to discuss now, the answers must be with you. Let's begin. This is page number 54. Question number 1. Was Anne right when she said that the world would not be interested in the musings of a 13-year-old girl? Do you think she was right? No, she was not right in thinking that the world will not be interested in knowing the musings of a 13-year-old girl. Had it been so, her novel would not have been such a huge success, because her diary, which was originally written in Dutch, have been published in almost all the languages of the world, and it is one of the most widely read novels. So we see that everybody is interested in the musings of a 13-year-old girl. Maybe to write, to know her, maybe to know the contemporary period, maybe to know about the Nazi concentration camps and all, maybe to know about the atrocities, the exploitations, the hardships which the Jews had to face under the Nazi reign. So whatever be the consequences, whatever be the reason, but her thinking that nobody will be interested to know the musings of a 13-year-old girl is not, true. Now, the second question. There are some examples of diary or journal entries in the before you read section. Compare these with what Anne writes in her diary. What language was the diary originally written in? In what way is Anne's diary different? Now, this is a very important question. See, in activity 2, we have been given a different kind of entry. I woke up at this and all these things. And here she is writing, Dearest Kitty, and then she is giving date, and then she is writing yours and all those things. So there is a difference in the contemporary form of diary entry and the kind of diary which Anne has written. What's that? Yes, it is because Anne does not consider diary as her diary. It is because she considers diary as her true friend, and she has written in the diary whatever she could have disclosed with her true friend if she had got one. So that is why you see a difference. The tone here is very, very informal, very informal, as if we are in front of a friend. She discloses almost everything, every personal thing she has disclosed. It's just because she feels that this is her diary, nobody is going to read it. Okay. Question number 3. Why does Anne need to give a brief sketch about her family? Does she treat Kitty as an insider or an outsider? She gives a brief sketch about her family because she doesn't want the diary to be confused. She considers diary to be her friend, and therefore we need to introduce ourselves to a friend, and that is why she also has introduced herself. She has presented a brief sketch about her family so that no, the diary doesn't, not even this diary, not only this diary, but anybody who reads the diary should not be confused. They must be having the introduction, they must be having a brief idea about her family. The confusion is kind of not there. So that's why she has written about her family and about a brief sketch of herself. Yes. Does she treat Kitty as an insider or an outsider? Of course, an insider. The diary is the most, the truest thing which she can have, the truest friend which she can have. So, diary is an insider. How does Anne feel about her father, about her grandmother, Mrs. Cupris and Mr. Casing? See, she feels that her father is very, very, very loving, because she has written, my father, the most adorable father I have ever seen. So she feels that her father is very, very adorable. And she also writes that her father was 36 when he married her mother. What does she feel about her grandmother? See, she is very much attached to her grandmother. When she was not with her grandmother, she misses her and she lights up candles for her grandmother as a sign, as a symbol to show that she misses her dearly, alongside her birthday things, birthday celebration. Mrs. Cupris. Again, Mrs. Cupris is her teacher and she is again very, very, very attached to her teacher. And when she leaves that school, both Mrs. Cupris and Anne, they are in tears. So this is a kind of mutual relationship, mutual loving relationship where both love each other. And Mr. Casing, okay. Mr. Casing, according to Anne, is very strict and he's maths teacher. But then with her wit, with her creativity, with her originality, with her ideas, and with her jolly nature, she is able to melt down the nature of Mr. Casing also. We see that at the end of the chapter, Mr. Casing has a very, very kind of informal relation, very loving relation with Anne. He doesn't disturb her in her talking. He doesn't, he makes jokes. Initially, he was so strict, but now he makes jokes. So she has been able to bring about a change in him. What do these tell you about her? Now these things tell us that she is very loving, she is very sensible, she is very sensitive, she has a rational approach, she has a mature and insightful mind, and of course she has a very insightful mind. She is full of creativity, originality, genuine ideas and all. She is very jolly, she is very talkative, and she is very truthful. And she is ready to face punishments. She never runs away from punishment. She braves the punishment very sportingly. Now next question. What does Anne write in her first essay? Now the first essay is a chatterbox. So in her first essay, Anne writes that talking is a student's trait. So that is why she talks. But then she will try her best to keep this talking trait under control. But the second thing she writes is that she has inherited this talking trait from her mother. Because her mother also talks as much as her, if not more. So she would have wanted to keep her talking trait under control, but there is nothing which you can do with your talking trait, with your inherited trait. Your own behavior you can correct, but things which you have inherited from your parents, you cannot correct them. So these are the things which she has written in the essay. Now, Anne says, teachers are most unpredictable. Is Mr. teasing unpredictable? How? Of course, yes. Anne is 100% correct when she says that the teachers are highly unpredictable. And she is very correct when this thing applies to Mr. Keesing. See, Mr. Keesing appears to be a very strict teacher. Mr. Keesing appears to be very harsh. He warns Anne again and again not to talk. He keeps assigning extra homework as part of her punishment. But then, see, the last essay which she wrote, she wrote that the baby ducklings were bitten to death because they quacked too much, and they were bitten to death by the father swan. Mr. Keesing, being so strict, could have taken this sarcasm on him, could have taken this joke on him. But he is very unpredictable. He has taken this joke in a very light-hearted manner. In fact, he is very happy. He laughs. He adds his own comments to it. And he reads this thing to each and every class. And moreover, after this, he starts making jokes. He starts joking in his classes. So, a teacher whom they thought to be so much of strict and all, he is so light-hearted. And he is not so much, he has taken the joke in a light-hearted manner. So teachers are very unpredictable, and Anne is very correct when she refers it to Mr. Keesing. Next question has 3 parts. Question number 7 has 3 parts. What do these statements tell you about Anne Frank as a person? The first part, not 3 parts, 5 parts. So the first part is, we don't seem to be able to get any closer, and that's the problem. Maybe it's my fault that we don't confide in each other. Now she is here referring to her friends. So what does this tell you about Anne? This tells that Anne doesn't very easily disclose her secrets, and Anne doesn't very easily mix up with her friends. Even when she spends happy quality time with her friends, but she doesn't believe in disclosing her secrets with them. Second question is, I don't want to jot down the facts in this diary the way most people would, but I want the diary to be my friend. What does this tell you about Anne? Her craving for a true friend. She wants to break the conventional path. She has to break the what is the conventional path? The conventional path is that you simply write about your thoughts in the diary. That's the conventional path, traditional thing. But what she has done, she has made this diary itself her friend. And this is something very new. This is something very path-breaking. And therefore we see that Anne is kind of a person who brings new and fresh ideas to her writing, even to her thoughts. Number 3. Margot went to Holland in December, and I followed in February, where I was plunked down on the table as a birthday present for Margot. So here she refers how she was presented as a birthday gift for Margot. What does this tell you about Anne? That she has a very loving relation with her sister, Margot. As a family, they are very much woven in. They are very much attached to each other. She has a very loving relation with her sister. Number 4. If you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of the class should be kept back. But teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth. What does this tell you about Anne? That Anne, right from the beginning, is a very intellectual being. Since she has such a high kind of intelligence, she understands that most of the students in her class are dummies. But then she also has seen every year that these these pupils have been promoted every year. So we know that, by this we know that Anne is Anne is not very sure about teachers. She thinks that even when the students, the friends in her class, they are not so much worthy, but the teachers have always promoted them, and that is why she thinks that the teachers are unpredictable. Because had she been the teacher, she would have felt half of the class not be should not be promoted to the next class. Now this is number 5. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words, but the trick was to come up with convincing arguments to prove the necessity of talking. So here she says she is referring to the punishment which she has received, the punishment of writing an essay on a chatterbox by Mr. Keesing. So she writes that anybody could ramble on and leave big spaces in between. But then she would write it correctly. She would present convincing arguments. Now this says that Anne is a person who would never run away from facing any punishment. If she has done something, she would very much like to present convincing arguments in her favor. That means why she has done that. To justify her stand, she would always want to present herself. Like here, anybody could have rambled on and left big spaces and all, but then she presents convincing arguments in her favor. So this speaks volumes about Anne. First thing, that she is a very loyal person, very truthful person. Second, she would never run away from her punishment. She would always believe in facing her punishment bravely. Third thing is that whatever she does with an undertaking. That means whatever she does when she is convinced that she can do it. And fourth thing, she knows that she is correct, or even if when she is not correct, she has plenty of convincing arguments to justify herself. That means she is not a person to run away from any blame. Okay, so this is the kind of thing. So these are all the questions, and we have done the whole chapter. We have done the question answers also, and I shall of course get back to you with doubt taking classes. Be ready for it, do the questions, and we shall catch up later together. Till then, goodbye.